Silence is often misunderstood. People tend to associate it with weakness, passivity, or even avoidance. But let me ask you this: how often have you regretted saying too much, reacting too quickly, or engaging in a conflict that drained your energy? And now, how often have you regretted staying silent, observing, and letting time reveal the truth? Silence is not a sign of surrender, it's a sign of mastery. It's a conscious choice to prioritize your peace over the noise around you. It's the ability to pause and reflect, even when your emotions are begging you to explode. Silence doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to understand that not every situation deserves your reaction. Not every comment requires a rebuttal, and not every person is worthy of your attention. In a world obsessed with instant responses, tweets, texts, posts, it takes incredible strength to step back and say, not this time. Silence forces people to sit with their actions and words without the distraction of your reaction. It shifts the focus back onto them and gives you the space to maintain your dignity and composure. Think about the last time you reacted impulsively. Maybe it was out of anger, frustration, or the need to defend yourself. Did it really bring resolution, or did it escalate the situation? Now, imagine if you had chosen silence instead. Imagine how much energy you could have saved by simply letting go. Silence is not passive, it's intentional. It's an active decision to protect your energy, to maintain your inner balance, and to choose peace over chaos. When you stay silent, you give yourself the opportunity to step into a position of power where you're not controlled by external circumstances or the emotions of others. Silence also has a unique way of speaking for itself. When you stop reacting, you send a powerful message: I'm not going to participate in this. You draw a boundary without uttering a word. And here's the beauty of that: people notice. They may not admit it, but they feel the shift. They start to understand that your silence is not a void, it's a statement. And let's not forget the personal growth that comes with silence. In those moments of quiet, you learn to listen not to the noise around you, but to yourself. Silence gives you the space to reflect, to process your emotions, and to reconnect with your values. It's in silence that you find clarity, strength, and the courage to move forward without the baggage of unnecessary conflict. Choosing silence is choosing yourself. It's saying, I value my peace more than this argument. I value my energy more than this negativity. I value myself enough to walk away. And that choice, my friends, is the ultimate strength. Boundaries are often misunderstood. Some see them as walls that shut others out, while others perceive them as acts of defiance. But boundaries are neither selfish nor cruel. They are an essential part of protecting our well-being, maintaining healthy relationships, and living authentically. When you set boundaries, you're drawing a line that says, this is where I end and you begin. It's not about creating division, it's about fostering mutual respect. Boundaries define what you will and will not accept, what you can and cannot tolerate, and most importantly, what you need to feel safe and valued. In today's world, where access to our time, energy, and attention seems endless, boundaries have never been more important. Every text message, email, or social media notification is a demand on your mental space. Every toxic relationship or unresolved conflict is a drain on your emotional energy. Without boundaries, you become a reservoir for everyone else's needs, leaving little room for your own. But here's the truth: boundaries are not about keeping others out. They are about keeping yourself and keeping yourself grounded, whole, and aligned with what truly matters to you. When you set boundaries, you're not just protecting your peace, you're creating space for growth, healing, and self-respect. Setting boundaries isn't always easy. It often requires uncomfortable conversations, a willingness to be misunderstood, and the courage to say no, even when it feels awkward. But the discomfort of setting a boundary is temporary, while the benefits are lasting. Each boundary you set teaches others how to treat you and reinforces your own sense of self-worth. Think about a time when you let someone overstep your boundaries. Maybe it was a friend who kept taking advantage of your generosity, a coworker who constantly crossed professional lines, or a family member who refused to respect your choices. How did that make you feel? Drained, resentful, frustrated? That's the cost of living without boundaries. It's the slow erosion of your energy, your happiness, and your sense of self. Now, imagine the opposite. Imagine standing firm and saying, this is what I need. This is what I will accept. How freeing is that? Boundaries empower you to take control of your life. They shift the dynamic from reacting to what others want to intentionally deciding what's best for you. And here's the key. Boundaries are not about punishment, they're about clarity. When you set a boundary, You're not saying, I don't care about you. You're saying, I care about me enough to protect my well-being, and I care about us enough to ensure this relationship is healthy. Boundaries are an act of love, not just self-love, but love for others. They prevent resentment, foster understanding, and create relationships built on mutual respect. A relationship without boundaries is like a house without walls. It cannot stand for long. So as we step into 2025, I encourage you to see boundaries not as barriers, but as bridges to healthier relationships, greater peace of mind, and a stronger sense of self. They are not acts of selfishness, but acts of self-preservation. They are not about exclusion, but about prioritization. Because when you honor your boundaries, you honor yourself. And that, my friends, is where true power lies. Conflict is a natural part of life. Whether it's a disagreement with a friend, a misunderstanding with a partner, or tension at work, we all encounter situations that challenge our emotions and test our patience. And while there are times when addressing conflict head-on is necessary, not every battle is worth fighting. Sometimes the greatest act of strength and self-care is choosing healing over conflict. Healing over conflict doesn't mean you're avoiding the issue. It means you're prioritizing your peace over the need to prove a point, win an argument, or force understanding from someone who may not be ready or willing to hear you. It's the conscious decision to release the grip of anger, frustration, or resentment, and focus instead on your emotional and mental well-being. When conflict arises, it's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment. The adrenaline kicks in, and the need to defend yourself or make your perspective heard can feel urgent. But here's the truth: most conflicts aren't resolved in the midst of heightened emotions. They're resolved or dissolved when at least one person decides to step back, breathe, and approach the situation with clarity and intention. Choosing healing over conflict starts with a simple question: what will bring me peace? Not temporary satisfaction, not validation from others, but real lasting peace. More often than not, the answer lies in letting go of the need to be right. Letting go of the need for an apology that may never come. Letting go of the narrative that says your worth is tied to how others perceive you in a disagreement. Healing doesn't mean you're excusing someone's behavior or ignoring your feelings. It means you're acknowledging the hurt, giving yourself permission to feel it, and then deciding not to let it control you. It's about reclaiming your energy and directing it toward growth, understanding, and self-compassion. Sometimes healing requires silence. It means walking away from an argument that's going nowhere, or stepping back from a relationship that consistently brings more pain than joy. Silence isn't about shutting down, it's about choosing to invest your energy where it can actually make a difference in yourself. Healing over conflict also invites us to shift our perspective. Instead of focusing on what someone did to hurt us, we can focus on what the experience taught us. Every conflict has the potential to reveal something about ourselves, our boundaries, our triggers, our patterns. When we approach conflict as an opportunity for self-reflection rather than as a battle to be won, we open the door to growth and transformation. It's important to acknowledge that healing isn't always easy. It takes time, patience, and a willingness to sit with uncomfortable emotions. It might mean seeking support from trusted friends, a counselor, or even journaling to process your thoughts. Healing is a journey, not a quick fix, but every step you take toward healing moves you further away from the weight of conflict and closer to the freedom of peace. Choosing healing over conflict also sets a powerful example for others. It shows that strength isn't about how loudly you argue or how many points you score in a debate. True strength lies in your ability to remain calm, to rise above the chaos, and to prioritize your well-being over your ego. As we step into 2025, let this be the year you choose healing over conflict. Let this be the year you walk away from situations that drain your energy and focus on what truly nourishes your soul. Remember, your peace is priceless, and no argument, grudge, or unresolved tension is worth sacrificing it. Because when you choose healing, you're not just letting go of conflict, you're stepping into a life of clarity, balance, and emotional freedom. And that, my friends, is the kind of victory that truly matters. Self-respect is the foundation of a fulfilling and authentic life. It's not something anyone else can give you or take away. It's a reflection of how you see yourself, how you treat yourself, and the standards you set for your relationships and your life. When you put self-respect first, you're not just honoring yourself, you're shaping the way others perceive and treat you as well. But what does it mean to put self-respect first? At its core, self-respect is about recognizing your worth and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. It's about holding yourself accountable for living in alignment with your values and choosing actions that reflect your integrity and self-worth. Self-respect is a daily practice. It's saying no when something doesn't feel right, even if it's uncomfortable. It's setting boundaries and sticking to them, even when people push back. It's walking away from toxic situations, not because it's easy, but because staying would mean betraying yourself. Think about the times when you've compromised your self-respect. Maybe you stayed in a situation where you weren't valued, tolerated disrespectful behavior, or kept silent when your heart screamed to speak up. How did that feel? Likely, it left you feeling small, diminished, and disconnected from yourself. Now think about a moment when you stood up for yourself, even when it was difficult. When you said, "This isn't okay," or "I deserve better." That's the power of self-respect. It strengthens you, grounds you, and reminds you of your inherent worth. Putting self-respect first also means embracing imperfection. It's about treating yourself with kindness and compassion even when you make mistakes. Self-respect isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest with yourself and doing your best to grow and learn. It's understanding that your worth isn't tied to your achievements, your appearance, or other people's opinions. It's intrinsic and unshakable. One of the greatest acts of self-respect is choosing the people you allow into your life wisely. Not everyone deserves access to your time, energy, or emotions. Surround yourself with those who uplift you, respect your boundaries, and celebrate your growth. If someone consistently undermines your self-respect, whether through criticism, manipulation, or disregard for your feelings, it's not only okay to distance yourself, it's necessary. Self-respect isn't selfish, it's essential. When you put yourself first, you're better equipped to show up for others. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't give your best to the world if you're constantly depleting yourself to meet others' demands. Self-respect teaches others how to treat you and sets the standard for the kind of relationships you're willing to accept. It's important to remember that self-respect doesn't always look the same for everyone. For some, it might mean speaking up in a meeting when they'd usually stay quiet. For others, it might mean leaving a relationship that no longer serves them. For others still, it might mean taking a break, resting, and prioritizing their mental health. Whatever it looks like for you, self-respect is about honoring your needs and standing firm in your truth. Choosing self-respect first is an ongoing journey. It's not something you wake up one day and master. It's a muscle you build over time. And like any journey, it will have its challenges. There will be moments when you'll question your decisions, feel the pull of old habits, or face resistance from others who aren't used to the boundaries you've set. But every time you choose self-respect, you're strengthening your foundation and creating a life that aligns with your true worth. In 2025, let this be the year you commit to putting self-respect first. Let it guide your decisions, shape your relationships, and serve as a constant reminder of your inherent value. Because when you respect yourself, you inspire others to do the same. You step into your power, live with integrity, and set the stage for a life filled with purpose, peace, and fulfillment. Remember, self-respect isn't just a choice, it's a lifestyle. And it's one worth living every single day. Leadership is often associated with action-making decisions, inspiring others, and stepping into the spotlight when the moment calls for it. But one of the most underestimated and profound aspects of true leadership is the ability to remain calm, composed, and thoughtful in the face of chaos. Non-reaction isn't passivity, it's power. It's the mark of someone who understands that not every situation requires a response and that strength often lies in restraint. In today's fast-paced world, reacting quickly has become the norm. We feel pressure to reply to messages immediately, to respond to criticism instantly, and to jump into every debate without pausing to think. But great leaders know that reacting impulsively can lead to missteps, misunderstandings, and decisions that we later regret. Non-reaction is the ability to pause, reflect, and choose your next steps with clarity and intention, rather than being driven by emotion or pressure. Non-reaction isn't about ignoring problems or avoiding responsibility. It's about mastering the art of discernment, knowing when to act, when to speak, and when to remain silent. Reacting to every comment, criticism, or provocation only drains your energy and diminishes your focus. Leaders who embrace non-reaction conserve their energy for what truly matters, channeling it into solutions, strategies, and actions that align with their purpose and values. Imagine a situation where someone challenges or criticizes you publicly. The natural instinct might be to defend yourself immediately, to prove your point, or to retaliate. But in that moment, ask yourself, what do I gain from reacting right now? Often the answer is nothing. By choosing non-reaction, you send a powerful message: I am not controlled by external noise. I am focused on what truly matters. Non-reaction also creates space for wisdom to emerge. When you pause instead of reacting, you give yourself time to assess the situation, consider different perspectives, and respond with intention rather than emotion. This ability to stay grounded, even in high-pressure situations, is what sets great leaders apart. It shows confidence, emotional intelligence, and a deep sense of self-control. Let's be clear, non-reaction doesn't mean being a doormat or letting others walk all over you. It means choosing your battles wisely and refusing to engage in negativity or drama that doesn't serve you. It's about knowing your worth and understanding that not every criticism or challenge is worth your time and energy. This approach doesn't just benefit you, it inspires others. People look to leaders not only for their words, but for their actions and demeanor. When you practice non-reaction, you model composure, resilience, and focus for those around you. You show that strength isn't about who yells the loudest or reacts the fastest. It's about who stays calm, thinks clearly, and acts decisively when the time is right. Non-reaction also fosters better relationships. When you react impulsively, you risk saying or doing things you don't mean, which can damage trust and respect. But when you take a moment to pause, you can respond with empathy, understanding, and intention, creating a foundation for stronger, healthier connections. Of course, non-reaction isn't always easy. It takes practice, self-awareness, and a commitment to growth. It requires you to step back from your ego and recognize that not every challenge is a personal attack. It means learning to sit with discomfort, process your emotions, and trust that silence can often speak louder than words. In 2025, let this be the year you embrace non-reaction as a form of leadership. Let it guide your actions, shape your decisions, and set the tone for how you navigate life's challenges. Remember, non-reaction doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right thing at the right time with clarity and intention. Because true leadership isn't about reacting to every spark. It's about staying steady, focused, and unshakable in the fire. Non-reaction is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the kind of leadership that inspires trust, fosters respect, and leaves a legacy of calm, purpose-driven strength. As we step into 2025, let us embrace the power of silence, boundaries, healing, self-respect, and non-reaction. These aren't just strategies for navigating challenges, they're principles for living a life rooted in strength, purpose, and peace. When we choose silence over unnecessary conflict, we protect our energy and allow clarity to emerge. When we set boundaries, we teach others how to treat us and create space for what truly matters. When we prioritize healing, we free ourselves from the weight of anger and resentment and step into emotional freedom. When we put self-respect first, we honor our worth and set the foundation for authentic relationships. And when we embrace non-reaction, we demonstrate leadership, focus, and the wisdom to rise above the noise. This year, let's commit to living intentionally, to valuing our peace over the need to prove a point, and to walking away from anything that no longer serves our growth. Let us remember that strength isn't always loud. It's often found in quiet resolve. Leadership isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering ourselves. And the most powerful message we can send to the world is through our actions, not our reactions. So when faced with challenges, remember this: you don't need to react. You don't need to explain. You don't need to engage. Instead, stand firm in your truth, protect your peace, and move forward with quiet confidence. Because when you choose to honor yourself, your energy, your time, your boundaries, you're not just changing your life, you're inspiring others to do the same. And that, my friends, is how you lead with grace, strength, and intention in 2025 and beyond.